get started. So it will be more brainstorming, and I will share a couple experiences while organizing events. So I was leading on the side the project called GOUP. So it was mostly online, building community, bringing speakers mostly from the open source community and sharing their experiences. And I joined Hacker Dojo in October. So we mixed in-person and plus online experiences and meet amazing people like you. So today, thanks, Luke, for before your trip to Egypt, taking time to share with us these amazing technologies. So the thing will be mostly few experiences I learned as when you start on the side as a side gig and hosting event, and how you get more and more. Huh? Oh yeah, thank you. Is it? Can I move completely now? Is it? Let me try. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah. Okay. So a few slides, we will just go through how you start. Yeah, like let's say you have a full-time job or you have your project and you don't have any community. So what you do first, you have social accounts, you go and post in random places and you have no idea if people will be interested or not, but that's how you start. And when move to the next step, you say, okay, what tools I'm going to use for that? So, and then you break down the whole event to pre, during, and after event steps. And you start maybe a few tools and few social accounts, but over time you feel you want to grow the audience, but then you feel also getting burden on managing all these platforms. Or if you need help, let's say from community, any volunteers, how are you going to do the access management, especially if they are free tool, they don't let you really do good process around how you're going to manage all the access to platform, how much you're going to trust, and so forth, because that's kind of becoming a burden. But yeah, that's few tools. Maybe you create a community in Slack and you have a Zoom and use LinkedIn, Twitter, and stuff just to share your event and recordings after. So now let's break down to each one. Let's say before the event, what you need. Yeah, you need maybe as organizer to sign up, engage with speaker, to write some email. It could be somebody. Usually the engagement good when you know from the network who knows them personally. But still, cold email, I had, would say, a bit of success bringing like speakers like Envoy, Creator, Matt Klein, and so forth from the community. It was just purely cold call, and they kind of come together. And then once, let's say, you get the speaker on, I haven't mentioned, but the space is the biggest challenge, especially if you are doing in person and you really have to pick a right location and the place where you can come and do it. So I think Hacker Dojo takes all this burden, like including having a coffee place. You don't have to deal with that as event organizer. That's amazing. But then let's say you need to come up with title, and title should be as much as, descriptive, and make sure it can come in the search and so forth. So there are a lot of thinking going there. And oftentimes speakers, maybe they're also good at what they do, but they're not good at presenting, sometimes vice versa. So it's really sometimes just luck. So you need to at least make sure you can maximize as a part of the event, that even they come and they don't get what they were looking for, at least they can enjoy, meet them another minded people like them. So, and then having clear agenda really helps. And I think we will come later, but let's say you let the speaker come up with the agenda and whatever you can get, yeah, like maybe as a bullet point. Usually I ask like 3 bullet point thing, like just break down your talk to the 3 pieces, then at least people will be clear, yeah, like it's 30 minutes talk, 10 minutes each one, and they will know, like each piece will get fair amount of time. Let's say it's 10 minutes, it won't be half an hour what they were expecting to talk. So having these kind of small nitty-gritty details helps. And the engagement, yeah. once in engagement, you start building a community and engaging, and later on, they just have a consistent coming, no matter what speakers you have or the topic in place. Or another thing, you go do the targeted advertisement for the attendees. So yeah, food is a big challenge. You have to consider there could be people like vegetarian and all this stuff. So whenever you do it, so it's good also to partner or find also the sponsor who can take care of this and make sure that experience come along together well, because otherwise, as organizer, it's another thing, because let's say if people didn't had that bad experience, I think it could be one of the things they may not be happy as well. So sign in, taking photo, recording, collaboration, that's all happening during the event. Sorry, I think I'll just move it here. So after during event, that's a moment you will, as much you need to get the data collected that you can go later on. So that's one of the most valuable piece of your event. The recording, picture, the good audio, good lightnings, and all these, and how people then exchange with the contacts and stuff, how you can keep connected to the community. And if you later know their concerns and so forth, and you can improve for the next time. So that's where it comes post-event things, how you're going to process all these feedbacks and follow-ups and so forth. So this is barely how you get started. Pre-event, during event, post-event. And the tools, it can keep increasing. So the key challenge comes over time, especially let's say if you have, we have GOUP had like Slack community over 2,000, but the thing was, I didn't really build around team that can feed constantly this community. And another challenge is Slack free after 10,000 messages are gone. So it's kind of, you are losing the data and so forth. So picking a right tool and the right people that who can serve the community. It's not about number of community, it's more about what portion of the community you can serve. Let's say if it's under 50%, probably you should just don't over advertise and keep building community, because people will come, and if they don't know, if they don't get what they want, I think it's becoming experience bad, and the churn, once they churn, bringing them back is more hassle than just keeping them. So building for scale. Now you have a problem. Yeah, you did constantly in Go. We have done more than 50 webinars just online and more in person and so forth. So we will say probably roughly 200 to 300 at least the speakers we had in the past. So that's where the problem comes with the scale. Yeah, like you need to scale the team, the process, tool you pick. Maybe the process you have today is good for 10 people, but maybe later for 100 people is not enough. So you need constantly evaluate and have a feedback with your community and make sure, let's say, what they were leaking also is changing. Yeah, like maybe they came join your community to learn Rust. Now they want to learn Go. Are you meeting that expectation? Are you agile enough to understand the community need of maybe any technology around? Sometimes you build a tool around and they are no longer interested to contribute, and can you keep them engaged and hear what they're looking for? So when it comes to growing your team, I will just move this one. So the perfect model would be ICME model, like independence, complexity, maturity, and execution. Complexity and maturity. Yeah, like it's better always keep it as much as clear you can and giving them little tasks rather than giving them a lot of stuff and they overcommit and then not doing it all. So just little by little, I think, especially if it's more volunteer work, it's always good to have, let's say, 1 or 2 hour task, not more than, and then once they're done, they give you update and you keep increasing. So short-term small wins, that's what means, like usually when we hire the community manager, we say, okay, this is just, you're gonna do just 10 events, yeah, like, and then we will see. We call it 1 chapter and 10 events. You lead it, and let's say if they feel tired in 5th event, they won't, they will say, okay, 5 more and then I'm done, yeah. And then if they're, let's say, emotionally tired and stuff and talking to people, they can just take a break. So we always break the events to chapters, and also community, like if they know we are in chapter 4, they know, okay, 3 more and then we take a break, unless we want to start with something else after. So, but at least like it's chunk of events, that it's not like year-long commitment or something. It's maximum 10 events. We can do it in 4 weeks. We can do it 5 weeks. Usually, if we started doing 10 events in 10 weeks, but it's also burden. Yeah, like I would rather do 2 events 5 weeks and just get done with it. So these kind of things happen. Context over control, especially in open source community, it's not normal relation. Yeah, like you can't go ask for updates. So, but you can make sure they have enough context that they can go and do what you were expecting them to do. So writing more descriptive the task and so forth, that was helping. Build or operate, delegate, especially if you want to grow and scale the community, you need community leaders. That's a title we can, but you can go and more have it. But then not just giving them title. So the title should be also temporary. Let's say if they're community leader, it's not like forever. They need for certain time, certain expectation they meet. As long as they keep meeting, it doesn't expire. But you need to have like timestamp in these kind of community titles as well, that they keep engaged. I like to keep that title if there is any value for them. Having a value for that, that's also another point I learned on the way, like what they will get out of this title. Will it help them in interview or going for fundraising? We had in the past, like from the community, startup founder, they were interested to getting the title because it helps them if they're building developer tooling. Having engaged with open source community, it was helping them. So result over activity, it's mostly how to focus more on result rather than doing activities like mechanically and not measuring stuff. That's one of the things. It's better to have a heads down, couple hours commitment to managing or leading community rather than doing a bunch of random stuff in random times. So that kind of was helping for me. Independence execution, like, yeah, do you have a good contribution documentation or community engagement documentation, keeping and updating that they will be more independent and not depend on you. And when it comes to execution, how you can measure the quality of the work they are doing. So, and even the best would be to giving them that control, that the metrics they need to measure their own work. So that kind of applies. So predictable and accountable. Again, when they commit, make sure everybody on the same page and they can commit and it can be measurable. So that's more than enough for the team growing. For process and tooling, there are so many tools. Some of them also paid, some of them free, but it's better than just doing manually. As much as you can bring the tool down for managing community, that's really best case, not dealing with that. But unfortunately, I didn't really find a single event management platform that I would say I can just rely on it doing all this stuff, the chore. So that's why the idea came to building event management gateway. And probably in follow-up meetups, you will see more, like to bring that all automation around and tool. So because I feel like using a bunch of tooling, there is not really a single one. You still need to go through all these, and sometimes it's paid and they keep the data. It's not open. You can't take data out of any time. So the plan is starting with CLI tool. Let's say before posting to LinkedIn, how about it will save in my file system, in my laptop somewhere, the post I made, that I can go the data later on, do stuff with it, and then post to LinkedIn. Yeah, like it sounds easy, but it's becoming so hassle, let's say, if you don't do it. Or to see how many people asking the question, how many people came to my events more than 5 times. Like managing all these kind of metrics and stuff, sometimes it's just you have to go through a bunch of lists and do it manually. So just more use cases this kind of comes as a community, if you can save the time, I think it will be more enjoyable to host more targeted audience meetups. So write down everything. As I think it's keep coming, because again, you also forget stuff how you did the last event. If you can write it down, even small things, then next time you for sure you can do something better. And for the training team, I was always on that, like especially we were hiring community manager across the board, and one thing came, like, if I will just put time, make online course or whatever that we expect, and make it as onboarding for these people, and before hire them, they can go through that, will save so much your time, just going, teaching, especially churn is high. If you are not paying, or it's more volunteer, or even if you pay and it's more temporary, like people will just go find, or if they get better, they can also churn, go find other place. So it's kind of having that reproducible, bringing us speed training will help. Again, ask for feedback for the community and for I think that's it. You guys listening so carefully. Nice, right? Hopefully it was something helpful, and if you have any questions, it's more, again, we can go do a little brainstorming, that you coming to the event as attendee, like what you like, what you would like to see. It could be in Hacker Dojo, it could be somewhere else you have seen, and yeah, that's, and yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
What's your experience or suggestions for making hybrid events interesting or useful? The ones that combine in person with streaming or some kind of online.
That's hard. So yeah, go ahead.
Actually interesting, it's very local. At this point, you've got people from Africa and all over the world. So, now that they've kind of started going live again, we're keeping the stream going.
Yeah, especially since like it's very hands-on, but you also want to make it interesting and relevant for somebody who's not really there.
Yeah, but there's a lot of show and tell. So people come and show their robot off, and a lot of it's kind of animal encouraged to keep people going. And there's a community support. The show and tell aspect is, it's one of the few motivating factors. You build something cool. Now I go to get kudos somewhere.
Yeah, but that's showing up. Imagine like, so there's like a Monday night law making class they have in Sierra, and that's something that's like very focused on like hands-on, getting your like how do you share that? How do you make that?
Yeah, 20 years 3D UX